What up? I got Naskin here with me. This ain't a diss song, but yeah, you know what it is. I'm a cheesehead, y'all niggas cheese whiz. Pittsburgh Steelers, that's nothing. That Super Bowl ring, that's nothing. Pull up in your town when you.
Defensively, they've stopped the run. They've been vulnerable against the pass. If you just look at their season-long numbers, is that a team that's maybe putting some more eggs into that basket of stopping the run and to get to that?
You know, I think just naturally, those guys that they have up front are very, very big human beings that can, really stuff the run. So I think they're really good at that. And the back end, I just think it's a younger group, so they're kind of working through all that stuff. But the front line is really good.
Have you ever had a player that A, unretired and came to play for you late in the year, and B, was a 6'8" tackle?
No, I have not. Just got to meet him today, and yeah, no, it's always nice to have veteran linemen around. That's for sure. But we had one at Jacksonville. A guy retired, came back, and then retired again. So it happens. And Albert, I think. God, I forget. He wasn't around too long.
Brandon Albert?
Yeah, Brandon Albert. There you go. Brandon Albert was there for a little bit.
Sternberger a couple weeks ago blocked surprisingly well in that game, 17 snaps or whatever it was. How come he was down last week?
It's just kind of the things that we'll do when we look at kind of what we think the best matchups are and where people are going to help us. And Bobby came back from injury, so we wanted to see where he was at, and I thought he did a nice job too.
Can you activate 4, or is that just too many?
Yeah, I would love to. From my perspective, you always like to have as many offensive guys as you can, and that allows you to do a lot of different things. But it's obviously the whole team, and special teams are always incorporated in that along with defense.
That deep pass to Quez last week that didn't get his feet down, is that a play he's got to make, or is that ball a little bit too far out of reach? How'd you view that?
Starting point, we were right on the cusp of where we can call that play because it is so far down the field. But I think it had a chance. I think just kind of understanding where he is on the field could have helped that, and I think we could have helped it potentially if we were a little bit farther back. So it's just one of those things. You're just kind of, it's a fine line for where we're throwing that one. But it would have been great if he got his feet down.
Nathaniel, Jimmy Graham told me something interesting last week, which I can't believe I just said, actually. He usually doesn't talk to us. But he said that there's been a bunch of instances this year where teams have done something vastly different defensively than what they had done leading into playing you guys. And it looked like, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because that happens a lot, that San Francisco played more man-to-man last week after Rob was telling us that they played like 70% zone all season.
Yeah.
What does that do to you guys? Because it sounds like it's happened multiple times. And how do you then deal with that? Because I assume you're talking about it during the week. Well, what if they do this? But
yeah,
you don't expect the team to do something completely different than what they've done, do you?
Yeah, I think everybody kind of goes in, and obviously having Aaron Rodgers back there is always, they're going to kind of have a different feel on how they want to attack him. So in the back of our minds, we're always kind of having, you work so long trying to look at what you have and look at the tendencies and try to get all those things together. And you always have to have backup plans. You're always going to see something new versus a team. They're always going to throw some kind of a wrinkle at you. And it's one of those things you sit there and go, when are they going to revert back to what they're doing? And but I think that with a guy like Aaron back there, I mean, people want to change so much because they kind of want to throw him off any way that they can because it's really hard to get him. So I think we always kind of have that in the back of our mind and always kind of have plans for that. Sometimes we'll have a little bit more for something else because that's kind of what they major in. And, every team kind of does it a little bit different. So I would say that a couple times this year that has happened. I want to say probably maybe 3 or 4 that it's been kind of one of those things you're like, whoa, this isn't what we were planning for. But you just got to adjust, and the guys got to adjust, and they got to be comfortable with it. And I think that's when, if you have a solid system and everybody understands it and they've been in it and have familiarity with it, you're able to make those adjustments and movements to be able to put yourself in position to adjust. So we just got to keep on being ready for that.
So when it's happened that much, are you maybe doing a little bit more of talking about backup plans now?
Always. Yeah, I think it's, it's one of those things, match sheet gets bigger and bigger and bigger because you could potentially do this or get this, and you just have to be ready for anything and everything, especially with the guy that we have back there that's throwing the ball around. So you just have to be ready for something they maybe have never done before. So we kind of always have that in the back of our minds.
To exaggerate, to make a point, if you're always snapping the ball at 1 second, does that allow the defense to tee off because they know it's at 1 second, or can they just not see the play clock because the nose tackle's got a center in front of them?
You know, that's a great one. It's one of those things you always want to take. You want Aaron to be able to take advantage of the time as much as possible and be able to evaluate the defense and what they're doing. So it's kind of one of those things you want to let him understand what's happening, but at the same time, you don't want them to know, oh, okay, the ball's probably going to be snapped at some point. So it's just a fine line. We just need to try to mix that up as much as possible.
Is that a point of conversation this week? There's a lot of snaps last week at 1 second.
No, I think it's, still in the end, we want Aaron to snap the ball when Aaron's comfortable. I mean, that's always the thing, and get as much information as possible. So I think it's always going to be something we'd like to fluctuate as much as possible.
In camp, in practice, every once in a while you do those, break the huddle just like that, run up, boom, snap the ball. I don't know, I can't remember seeing that at all, or if it was really early in the season. Is that something Aaron doesn't like to do, or?
No, I think it's one of those things we always want to mix it in a little bit, and I would say it's sometimes around, and it just depends if we get to it. So not wanting to give too much schematics or anything like that, but it's one of those things, it's a very powerful weapon, and it's one of those things you always want people to be worried about.
So, Nathaniel, Matt was telling us that, Matt was telling us that, in relation to Bill's question, that this offseason you guys are probably gonna spend some time trying to figure out a way to make the verbiage a little bit more brief. Is that, you obviously can't do it in season, you got a lot to get done, but is that something that you guys really have found, maybe it's slowing you down a little bit in terms of?
I think that can always help. I think right now, because, we're only, 12 games old? I don't even know what week it is anymore. But I think the more that everybody is familiar with the system, the more you can change the verbiage and allow people to know when you say this one word, it's a lot of different things. So I think right now we're trying to communicate to everybody. We're trying to make sure everybody knows what to do. So we always want to keep that in mind. And then as you get more familiar with it, you can take words out. So the less words is always better.
I'm not going to ask you what your plan is at right tackle, because I know you want to answer it, but whoever's starting at right, let's say Blaga's not playing, whoever you have starting at right tackle, do you feel good that you can function offensively without having to change up too many things as far as chipping or?
Without a doubt. Yeah. No, I think we'll be good. Whoever's over there is going to be ready, and everybody's got to be ready to go.
Nathaniel, there's an old cliche that at this stage of the season you are who you are, but as coaches, do you always think you can get something else out of the team, out of a player, out of a position?
Without a doubt. I think from schematics, from improving, from technique, we want to coach it the same way every day, and we want to make sure they're always getting better. And no matter what week it is, no matter how far in the season, you're always trying to push that fact.
Oh yeah. Young Moolah, baby.